The storm howled across the plains of Nexus, a border planet where the air smelled like metal and wet soil. Rain pelted the roof of June's workshop, a large metal building at the edge of the human outpost. June wiped sweat from his forehead as he finished repairing the outpost's transport vehicle. "One more bolt and you're done," he said to himself, tightening the final connection. June was the best mechanic at Outpost 17. His hands were rough from years of work, but they moved with surprising grace when handling delicate machinery. He had come to Nexus 3 years ago looking for adventure and a fresh start away from Earth. A flash of lightning lit up the workshop, followed by a crash of thunder that shook the walls. Then June heard something else, a strange sound coming from outside. It wasn't the wind or the rain. It sounded like an animal in pain. June grabbed his flashlight and jacket. "Hello?" he called as he stepped outside into the storm. The rain immediately soaked his clothes. He shined the light around the perimeter of his workshop. At first, he saw nothing. Then his light caught something shining on the ground behind his tool shed. June moved closer, his boots splashing in the mud. What he saw made him stop in surprise. Lying on the ground was a creature that looked somewhat like a horse from Earth, but very different. It had 6 legs instead of 4. Its body was covered, not with hair but with scales that shimmered with colors that changed as it breathed. The creature was huge, at least twice the size of an Earth horse. But what caught June's attention most was the creature's front right foot. It was swollen to nearly twice its normal size, and a foul-smelling liquid oozed from a crack in the scales. "You're hurt," June said softly, approaching with caution. The creature's eyes opened. They were large and had no pupils, just solid deep blue orbs that seemed to glow slightly. It made a noise, a mix between a horse's whinny and a mechanical whir, and tried to stand up. It couldn't put weight on the swollen foot and collapsed back to the ground. June recognized the problem immediately. He had seen similar issues with the farm animals his family had kept when he was a child in Korea. "You have an abscess," he said. "A bad infection in your foot." The creature watched him with those strange eyes. It seemed to understand his voice, or at least his tone. It didn't try to run away when June moved closer. June made a quick decision. "I'm going to help you, but I need to get you inside, out of this rain." He went back to his workshop and drove out the transport vehicle he had just fixed. It had a flat loading bed used for carrying equipment. June lowered the ramp and returned to the creature. "This will be tricky," he said. He had no rope or way to guide the animal. All he could do was try to encourage it. To his surprise, the creature seemed to understand what he wanted. With great effort, it rose to its 5 good feet and limped toward the transport. June walked alongside it, ready to help if it fell. The creature struggled up the ramp and collapsed onto the bed of the transport. "Good job," June said, patting its neck carefully. The scales were warm and vibrated slightly under his hand, almost like they contained tiny motors. June drove very slowly back to his workshop. Once inside, he closed the big doors to keep out the storm and turned on all the lights. Now he could see the creature clearly. It was even more amazing than he had first thought. Its scales weren't just shiny. They seemed to contain tiny lights that pulsed in patterns. Where Earth horses had manes of hair, this creature had what looked like flexible copper wires that moved slightly on their own. June checked the injured foot more closely. The abscess was severe. Without treatment, the infection would spread and the creature would die. "I need to scan you," June said. He brought over his diagnostic tool, usually used for checking engine problems. He ran it over the creature's body. The readings confused him. The creature had biological systems like a normal animal, a heart, lungs, blood vessels. But it also had components that looked almost mechanical. Metal reinforcements in its bones, tiny filaments running alongside its nerves, and something like a small computer embedded in its brain. "What are you?" June whispered. Just then his comm unit beeped. It was Commander Park, the head of the outpost. "June, we've detected an unknown biological signature in your workshop." Park's voice crackled through the speaker. "What's going on?" June hesitated, The outpost had strict rules about alien life forms. They were supposed to be reported and quarantined immediately. I found an injured animal, June said carefully. I'm just checking its wounds. What kind of animal? Park asked. I'm not sure yet. It's hurt badly. There was a pause. Is it one of the six-legged riding beasts? The ones the Terry use? June looked at the creature. The Terry were a species that humans had limited contact with. They lived on the other side of the Great Plains and rarely came near human settlements. They were known for their mount beasts that served as both transportation and companions. I think it might be, June admitted. Bring it to the science lab. Immediately, Commander Park ordered. The Terry mounts are partially bioengineered. They're valuable research subjects. The creature seemed to understand the conversation. It made a distressed sound and tried to rise again. It's too injured to move right now, June said. The foot is badly infected. I should treat it here. You're not authorized to interact with alien biology, June, Park said sharply. I'm sending a security team. June turned off his comm unit. He looked at the creature, which was watching him with those strange blue eyes. There was intelligence there and fear. June made his second difficult decision of the night. I'm not going to let them take you, he told the creature. I'm going to help you. He touched the creature's neck again. The scales vibrated under his hand and the lights in them pulsed in a new pattern. The creature made a soft sound, almost like a purr. June knew he didn't have much time before the security team arrived. He needed help from someone who knew about living things, not just machines. He used his comm unit to call the one person at the outpost he trusted completely. Han? It's June. I need your help with something unusual. Can you come to my workshop right away? And bring your medical supplies. Don't tell anyone where you're going. As he waited for his friend, June gathered tools and tried to think of a way to treat an abscess in an alien creature with partially mechanical biology. He didn't know exactly what he was doing, but he couldn't stand to see any living thing suffer. Outside, the storm continued to rage, and in the distance, June could hear the sounds of the security transport approaching. Time was running out. June heard the back door of his workshop open. He tensed, ready to defend the injured creature. Then he relaxed when he saw Han slip inside, carrying a large medical bag. Lock the door, June said. Han did as asked, then turned around. His eyes went wide when he saw the six-legged creature lying on the floor of the workshop. Is that what I think it is? Han asked. He was shorter than June, with round glasses that made his eyes look bigger. Han was the outpost's botanist, studying the plants of Nexus to find useful medicines. It's a Terry mount beast, June said. I found it outside during the storm. Its foot is badly infected. Han approached slowly. The security team is searching the area. Commander Park is very interested in getting his hands on it. That's why we need to hurry, June said. Look at its foot. Han examined the swollen foot and frowned. This is a severe abscess. The infection is deep inside. Can we treat it? June asked. Han opened his medical bag. Maybe, but Terry biology is different from Earth animals. Their mounts are partly living creatures and partly machines. That's why they're so valuable. I don't care about their value, June said. It's in pain. The creature made a whirring noise as if agreeing. We need to drain the abscess, Han said. But I don't have the right tools for a creature this big. June looked around his workshop. Maybe I can make something. He went to his workbench and began gathering tools. What exactly do we need? Something to cut through those scales without damaging them, Han said. Then we need to drain the infection and clean it out. Finally, we need medicine to stop the infection from coming back. June nodded. He picked up a small cutting tool he used for precise mechanical work. This might work for opening the abscess, but we'll need to modify it. For the next 20 minutes, June worked quickly, adjusting the tool to make it better for medical use. Han watched in amazement as June's hands moved skillfully, turning a machine repair tool into a medical instrument. Do you have medicine that will work on it? June asked as he worked. Han nodded. I've been studying local plants. Some have strong antibacterial properties. I think if we mix them with basic Earth antibiotics, they might work on Terry biology. The creature watched them, with its glowing blue eyes. It seemed to understand they were trying to help. How do we keep it still while we work? Han asked. If it moves while we're draining the abscess, we could hurt it badly. June thought for a moment. I have an idea. He went to another part of his workshop and returned with a small device. This generates a specific frequency. We use it to calm machinery during delicate repairs. The vibrations create a relaxing effect. Will it work on a living creature? Han asked. This creature is part machine, June said. Maybe it will respond. He turned on the device. It made a soft humming sound that was barely audible to human ears. To their surprise, the creature's eyes dimmed slightly, and its breathing slowed. It didn't fall asleep, but it became very calm. It's working, Han said. Let's hurry before the security team checks here again. They prepared their makeshift medical area. June placed clean tarps under the creature's foot. Han mixed his medicines. In a bowl. I'm going to cut now, June said softly to the creature. This will hurt, but it will help you get better. The creature made a soft whirring sound. Its scales flickered with blue light patterns. With great care, June used his modified tool to cut a small opening in the swollen area. Immediately, foul-smelling liquid began to drain out. The color was strange, a mixture of yellow pus and a blue liquid that looked almost like coolant from a machine. Look at that, Han said. Its blood has mechanical properties. They work together to drain the abscess completely. June held the wound open while Han used a small pump to extract all the infected material. Then Han washed the wound with clean water. Now for the medicine, Han said. He applied a thick paste made from his plant mixtures and earth antibiotics. As they worked, June noticed something strange inside the wound. There were tiny metal components embedded in the creature's flesh like microscopic machinery. These look like nanobots, June said, pointing. But they're damaged. The infection must have shut them down. The Tyri use advanced biotechnology, Han said. These might be repair systems that help the creature heal. June had an idea. He went to his bench and returned with a small electrical device. This might jumpstart them. Be careful, Han warned. We don't know what might happen. June adjusted the device to emit a very low electrical current. Then he carefully touched it near the damaged nanobots. For a moment, nothing happened. Then tiny lights began to glow inside the wound. The creature made a surprise sound. Its eyes fully opened and the wire-like mane on its neck stood up straight. I think it's working, June said. The tiny machines began moving inside the wound, helping to clean and repair the damaged tissue. Amazing, Han whispered. They finished cleaning the wound and applied a bandage to keep it protected. The whole procedure had taken nearly an hour. Now we wait, Han said. If the infection clears, it should start healing quickly. The creature seemed more alert now. It lifted its head and made a sound that was almost like a thank you. What should we call it? June asked. Han thought for a moment. How about Taiyang? It means sun in our language. Its scales remind me of sunlight on water. Taiyang, June repeated. I like it. Just then, they heard a loud knocking on the main door of the workshop. Security. Open up by order of Commander Park. June and Han looked at each other in alarm. Hide, in the storage room, June told Han. Take the medical supplies. I'll handle this. Han quickly gathered his things and slipped into the small storage room at the back of the workshop. June took a deep breath and went to the door. He opened it to find 3 security officers standing there with stern faces. We need to search your workshop, the lead officer said. Orders from Commander Park. What for? June asked, trying to sound casual. A Tyri mount has been detected. In this area, it's considered valuable research material. Behind June, Taiyang lay on the floor. The creature was huge. There was no way to hide it. I'm working on a sensitive repair, June said. I can't have people disturbing it. The officer frowned. Step aside, mechanic. This is a direct order. June knew he couldn't refuse without making things worse. He stepped back and let the officers enter. As soon as they saw Taiyang, they raised their stun weapons. Stand back from the Terry mount, the lead officer ordered. Wait, June said. It's injured. I'm just helping it. Commander Park wants it. Brought to the lab, the officer said. We're taking it now. June moved to stand between the officers and Taeyang. If you move it now, the infection might spread. It could die. The lead officer hesitated. Our orders are clear. Call Commander Park, June suggested. Tell him I've already started treatment. If the creature dies during transport, he won't get his research subject. The officer considered this, then stepped back to make the call. After a brief conversation, he turned to June with a frown. You have 24 hours to stabilize it, then we're moving it to the lab. The officers left and June let out a sigh of relief. Han emerged from the storage room. That was close, Han said. We've only bought a little time, June replied. But maybe it's enough. They both looked at Taeyang. The creature's eyes were fixed on June, filled with what looked like gratitude. One day at a time, June said, gently touching Taeyang's neck. First, let's get you healed. Outside, the storm finally began to fade, but June knew that a different kind of storm was just beginning. 3 days had passed since June and Han treated Taeyang's infected foot. Somehow June had convinced Commander Park to let him keep the creature in his workshop for continued treatment. He argued that moving Taeyang could worsen the infection and damage a valuable research subject. June slept on a cot in the corner of his workshop, waking every few hours to check on Taeyang. The creature's condition improved steadily. The swelling in its foot decreased and the strange blue lights in its scales grew brighter. On the morning of the 4th day, June was changing Taeyang's bandage when Han rushed into the workshop. Bad news, Han said, out of breath. Commander, Park is getting impatient. He wants Taeyang moved to the research lab tomorrow no matter what. June frowned. Taeyang is still healing. And look. He pointed to the bandaged foot. The nanobots we reactivated are rebuilding tissue, but they need more time. Han looked worried. That's not all. There's a message from the border outpost. They've detected Terry activity nearby. Terry? Here? June was surprised. The alien species rarely came close to human settlements. What do they want? They're looking for something, Han said. Or someone. They both looked at Taeyang, who was watching them with those intelligent blue eyes. They're looking for their mount, June said. Taeyang must be important to them. That afternoon, June continued his work in the workshop while keeping an eye on Taeyang. The creature could now stand on all 6 legs, though it still favored the healed foot. June noticed something interesting. Whenever he used certain tools, Taeyang's attention would focus intensely on them. The creature seemed particularly interested in devices that produced electrical signals or vibrations. Curious, June picked up a frequency analyzer, a tool he used to diagnose problems in complex machinery. When he turned it on, Taeyang's wire-like mane stood up straight and the lights in its scales formed new patterns. You like this, don't you? June said. He adjusted the frequency of the device. Taeyang made a whirring sound that almost seemed like a response. June changed the frequency again and Taeyang made a different sound. Are you trying to talk to me? June asked. He spent the next hour experimenting with different frequencies. Each one seemed to produce a different reaction. From Taeyang, it reminded June of a language not made of words but of electrical signals and vibrations. That night, Han visited again with fresh medical supplies. He was amazed at what June had discovered. The Tyri are known to communicate with their mounts through a special connection, Han said. Some say it's a mental link, but maybe it's actually based on electrical signals. I think I can build a device to help us communicate better with Taeyang, June said. If I can understand what it's trying to tell us, maybe we can help it more. He worked through the night, creating a small device that could produce a wide range of frequencies. By morning, he had a prototype ready. It looked like a small box with dials and a speaker. June approached Taeyang with the device. Let's see if this works. He turned on the device and adjusted it until he found a frequency that made Taeyang's scales light up brightly. The creature moved closer to June and gently touched the device with its nose. June turned one of the dials, creating a pattern of sounds. To his amazement, Taiyang responded with a similar pattern, produced by the vibration of its scales. "It's working," June whispered. "We're communicating." Over the next few days, June refined his understanding of Taiyang's responses. The creature couldn't speak in words, but it could express basic feelings and needs through the patterns of lights and sounds. June learned when Taiyang was hungry, tired, or in pain. Taiyang's foot was healing remarkably well. The creature could now walk normally, though June noticed it still stayed close to him whenever possible. One evening, June was working on an engine while Taiyang watched. The creature had been with him for nearly a week now, and June had grown attached to it. He dreaded the thought of Commander Park taking Taiyang to the research lab. Suddenly, the workshop door burst open. Commander Park himself entered, followed by 4 security officers. "Time's up, June," Commander Park said. "The creature is coming with us now." June stood up. "Its name is Taiyang, and it's not fully healed yet." "It looks healed to me, Commander," Park said, eyeing the creature. "Our scientists are eager to study it. The Terry Mount beasts have technology we don't understand yet." "It's not just technology," June argued. "Taiyang is intelligent. It can communicate." Commander Park looked skeptical. "All the more reason to study it. The military has interest in these creatures. Their abilities could be useful." Taiyang moved closer to June, its scales dimming with what June now recognized as fear. "I won't let you take it," June said firmly. "Taiyang isn't a thing to be studied. It's a living creature." Commander Park's face hardened. "This isn't a request, mechanic. It's an order. Step aside." The security officers moved forward. June stood his ground, but he knew he couldn't fight all of them. Just then, alarms began blaring throughout the outpost. Red emergency lights flashed. "What's happening?" Commander Park asked, touching his communicator. A voice came through. "Sir, we have a situation at the main gate. Terry warriors have been spotted approaching the outpost. They're demanding the return of their Mount Beast." Commander Park looked at Taiyang, then at June. "This complicates things." He turned to his officers. "Secure the creature. We'll move it to the secure bunker until we deal with the Terry." "No," June said, stepping in front of Taiyang. "If the Terry have come for Taiyang, we should return it. This could avoid a conflict." "That creature contains technology we need to understand," Commander Park insisted. "The military won't let it go so easily." While they argued, Taiyang moved to the window of the workshop. Its scales brightened as it looked outside. June joined it and saw a group of tall, slender figures approaching the outpost. They wore armor that looked similar to Taiyang's scales, with the same shifting colors and lights. "Those must be the Terry," June said. "All the more reason to secure the creature now." Commander Park ordered his officers forward again. June made a quick decision. He grabbed his communication device, the one he had made to interact with Taiyang, and ran to the door. "I'm going to talk to them," he said. "Maybe I can explain that we helped Taiyang, not hurt it." "That's too dangerous," Han said, who had just arrived at the workshop. "The Terry are very protective of their mounts. They might see what we did as interfering with their sacred bond." "I have to try," June said. "It's better than starting a fight." Before anyone could stop him, June ran out of the workshop toward the main gate. Taiyang followed him, moving with surprising speed despite its recent injury. Commander Park shouted after them, but June didn't stop. He reached the main gate just as the Terry warriors arrived on the other side. There were 5 of them, each standing nearly 7 feet tall. Their bodies were slender but strong-looking, covered in the same scale-like armor that matched Taiyang's skin. Their faces were humanoid, but with sharper features and eyes that glowed like Taiyang's. "I am June," he called out to them. "I found your Mount Beast injured in the storm. I helped heal it." The tallest Terry stepped forward. "I am Rai, rider of the mount you call Taiyang. You have touched what is not yours to touch." Taiyang moved forward and made a series of sounds and light patterns with its scales. Rai's eyes widened in surprise. "My mount tells me you saved its life," Rai said. "It shows me the infection that would have killed it without your help." June nodded. Its foot had a bad abscess. We drained it and helped restart its healing systems. Rai approached Taeyang and placed a hand on its neck. The scales under the Tairi's hand lit up brightly, and more complex patterns flowed between them. They were communicating in a way June could only partly understand. After a long moment, Rai looked at June with a new expression. My mount has shown me what you did. You acted with compassion, human, not greed. June felt relief wash over him. I just wanted to help. Behind him, Commander Park arrived with his security officers. Step away from the aliens, June, he ordered. This is a diplomatic situation now. But Rai was still focused on June. You recognize the value of life over the value of technology. This is rare among your kind. Taeyang made another series of sounds, and the lights in its scales formed patterns that June now recognized as expressions of trust and gratitude. June smiled. We could learn from each other if we tried. For the first time, Rai's serious expression softened slightly. Perhaps. The tension in the air decreased slightly, but June knew this was just the beginning. Commander Park wanted Taeyang for research, and the Tairi wanted their mount back. June stood in the middle, his simple act of compassion now at the center of a much larger conflict. As darkness fell over the outpost, June wondered what tomorrow would bring. Morning came with an uneasy calm at Outpost 17. After the tense meeting at the gate, Commander Park had reluctantly agreed to let the Tairi stay in a cleared area outside the outpost while negotiations continued. June stood at the window of his workshop, watching the Tairi camp. The 5 warriors had set up a small shelter and remained close to it. Taeyang stayed in the workshop with June, still not fully trusted by either side. Han entered, carrying breakfast for June. Did you sleep at all? June shook his head. 2. Much on my mind. Commander Park spent half the night talking to Earth headquarters, Han said. They want the Tairi mount for study no matter what. June sighed. And Rai says the mount is sacred to his people. They believe humans will damage the special bond they share. Taeyang moved to stand beside June, gently bumping his shoulder with its nose. The creature seemed to understand the trouble it had caused. Does Rai know you reactivated the nanobots in Taeyang's foot? Han asked. No, June said. I'm not sure how he would react to that. The Tairi are very protective of their technology. A knock at the door interrupted them. It was Commander Park, looking tired but determined. The Tairi leader, Rai, has agreed to a meeting, he said. He wants you there, June. Me? Why? Apparently his mount trusts you, Commander Park said with a frown. And right now we need any advantage we can get. June followed Commander Park to the outpost's meeting room. Inside, Rai waited, standing tall and proud. His armor scales shifted with subtle lights, similar to Taeyang's skin. As June entered, Rai nodded to him. The human who heals, he said. It seemed to be a title rather than a greeting. Commander Park began speaking formally about cooperation and shared interests. But Rai raised a hand to stop him. I will speak plainly, Rai said. My mount was injured during a border patrol. We were separated when we encountered a Scourge raiding party. Scourge? June asked. Vicious raiders, Commander Park explained. They attack both human and Tairi outposts. They take whatever they can and destroy the rest. Rai continued. My mount fled while I fought. I feared it was lost forever. Now I find it alive, but touched by human hands. He looked directly at June. You have interfered with its internal systems. I only reactivated the healing nanobots, June said. They had shut down because of the infection. Rai's eyes narrowed. Those systems are sacred to our people. Only a trained rider should touch them. He saved your mount's life, Commander Park pointed out. And in doing so, revealed technology that could benefit humanity. That technology is not for humans, Rai said sharply. It is part of the ancient bond between Tairi and their mounts. It is our way. The meeting continued for hours, going nowhere. The Tairi wanted Taeyang returned immediately. Commander Park insisted on studying the creature first. Neither side would budge. June mostly listened, speaking only when asked about Taiyang's treatment. He could feel the tension building between the two groups. Finally, Rai stood abruptly. "This discussion is pointless. I will return to my people and seek guidance from our elders." As he turned to leave, the outpost alarm sounded again. A voice came over the communication system. "All personnel to defensive positions. Scourge raiders approaching from the North Ridge." Everyone rushed outside. From the outpost wall, they could see a cloud of dust on the horizon. Commander Park grabbed a viewfinder and looked through it. "At least 20 vehicles," he reported, grimly. "Heavily armed. They must have followed the Tyri." Rai looked concerned. "The Scourge have grown bolder. They rarely attack established outposts." "Can we contact your people for help?" June asked him. Rai shook his head. "Our main force is 2 days away. We are alone." Commander Park began shouting orders to his security team. "Get everyone to the emergency bunkers. Activate the defense shields." June ran back to his workshop to find Taiyang. The creature was agitated, its scales flashing rapid patterns of light. "The Scourge are coming," June told it. "The ones who separated you from Rai." Taiyang made an angry sound, somewhere between a growl and the revving of an engine. June had an idea. It was risky, but it might help. He grabbed his communication device and ran to find Rai. He found the Teri warrior preparing for battle with his companions. "I need to talk to you about your mount," June said urgently. Rai looked at him impatiently. "This is not the time, human." "It is exactly the time," June insisted. "I've learned to communicate with Taiyang. Not as well as you can, but enough to understand some things. It wants to help fight the Scourge." Rai paused. "My mount is not ready for battle. It is still recovering." "I know," June said. "But I think I can help. In my workshop, I have materials that could protect Taiyang during the fight." Rai's eyes narrowed. "What kind of materials?" "Lightweight armor plating. I use it for reinforcing damaged vehicles," June explained. "I could modify it to fit Taiyang's body without restricting movement." The sounds of the approaching raiders grew louder. Commander Park ran up to them. "Our scans show they have heavy weapons," he said. "Our shields won't hold for long." "How many defenders do you have?" Rai asked. 15 security officers, Commander Park replied. "Most of our people are scientists, not fighters." Rai looked at his 4 warriors, then back at the approaching dust cloud. "We are outnumbered," June spoke urgently. "Let me help prepare Taiyang. With your riding skills and my mechanical knowledge, we might stand a better chance." After a moment of consideration, Rai nodded. "Show me your plan, human." They rushed to June's workshop. Taiyang greeted them both, clearly understanding the danger. June quickly explained his idea while gathering materials. "Your mount has natural armor in its scales," June said, "but I can add reinforced plating at key points for extra protection." Rai watched closely as June laid out his designs. "The bond between rider and mount allows us to fight as one. Will your additions interfere with this?" "I don't think so," June said. "In fact, I might be able to enhance it." He showed Rai the communication device he had built. "This helps me understand Taiyang's signals. Maybe it could help strengthen your connection during battle." Outside, the outpost's warning siren blared continuously. They could hear the first sounds of weapons fire. "We have little time," Rai said. "Do what you can quickly." June worked faster than he ever had before. He fitted lightweight armor plates to Taiyang's body, securing them in ways that wouldn't restrict movement. He installed small power cells salvaged from damaged equipment, connecting them to Taiyang's natural electrical systems. "This should boost the signals between you and Taiyang," June explained, attaching a modified version of his communication device to Rai's armor. Rai placed his hand on Taiyang's neck. The lights in both their armor synchronized, pulsing with the same pattern. "The connection is stronger," Rai said, sounding surprised. "I can feel Taiyang's thoughts more clearly." Han burst into the workshop. "The Scourge have breached the outer gate. They'll be inside the outpost in minutes." "We're ready," June said, stepping back from his work. Taiyang stood tall and proud, the new armor plates gleaming on its body. The owl creature no longer looked like an injured mount, but like a powerful war beast. Rai climbed onto Taiyang's back, settling into the natural saddle area between two sets of shoulders. As soon as they connected, both Rai and Taiyang's armor lit up with bright synchronized patterns. "I have never felt such a clear connection," Rai said, his voice filled with wonder. "Your technology has strengthened our bond, not weakened it." Massive explosions shook the workshop. The Scourge were inside the outpost. "It's time," June said. Rai nodded, a new respect in his eyes. "You have honored our ways while adding your own human mechanic. Today we fight together." Taiyang reared up on its hind legs, making a sound that was part battle cry, part engine. Roar. Then Rai and his mount charged out of the workshop toward the sound of battle, their armored bodies glowing with light. June grabbed a repair tool that could double as a weapon and followed them. The real test of his work was about to begin. Chaos filled the outpost as the Scourge Raiders poured through the breached gate. They rode in rugged vehicles made from scavenged parts, their bodies covered in mismatched armor. Their faces were hidden behind metal masks with glowing red eyes. Commander Park and his security team formed a defensive line, but they were quickly being pushed back. The four Terry warriors fought alongside them, their advanced weapons cutting down raiders, but there were too many enemies. June ran behind Rai and Taiyang, watching in amazement as they charged toward the battle. The armor he had attached to, Taiyang's body gleamed in the sunlight. The power cells hummed with energy that connected to Taiyang's natural systems. As soon as the raiders saw Rai on his mount, they focused their attack. 3 vehicles broke off from the main group and raced toward them. "They want to capture a Terry mount," Han said, running alongside June. "That's probably why they attacked." June nodded. "Let's see if our modifications help." Rai leaned forward, seeming to whisper to Taiyang. The creature's 6 legs moved with incredible speed and grace despite the recent injury. The lights in its scales pulsed in rapid, complex patterns. The first raider vehicle came within range, and a Scourge warrior fired a net launcher. Rai and Taiyang moved as one, dodging the net with perfect timing. Then Taiyang did something unexpected. Its scales began to glow intensely, building to a bright flash that temporarily blinded the nearby raiders. "That's new," June said, surprised. The power cells must have amplified its natural abilities. Rai guided Taiyang in a tight circle around one of the raider vehicles. They moved so fast they were almost a blur. Then Taiyang kicked out with its powerful back legs, striking the vehicle's engine. The vehicle flipped over, throwing its riders to the ground. Meanwhile, Commander Park and his team, along with the other Terry warriors, were being pushed back toward the central buildings. The raiders had superior numbers and heavy weapons. "We need to do more," June told Han. "Rai and Taiyang can't face them all alone." June spotted an abandoned outpost transport vehicle. It was damaged, but might still run. He ran to it and quickly, "Check the engine, it's working," he called to Han. "Get in." Han jumped into the passenger seat while June took the controls. The engine started with a rumble. June accelerated toward the nearest group of raiders, using the transport as a battering ram to scatter them. "Head toward the command center," Han pointed. "That's where most of our people are trapped." June steered through the chaos, using his driving skills to avoid enemy fire. As they approached the command center, they saw Commander Park and the remaining defenders huddled behind makeshift barriers. Raiders were closing in from all sides. "We need to get them out," June said. "This transport has room for most of them, but..." There was a problem. Between them and the command center were too many raiders. They couldn't break through without help. Just then, June spotted Rai and Taiyang racing along the outpost wall, pursued by several raiders. He had an idea. June grabbed his communication device and adjusted it to broadcast on the frequency Taiyang responded to best. He sent a simple pattern of signals: danger, help needed, friends trapped. Taiyang's head turned toward them immediately. The creature seemed to understand. It changed direction, racing toward June's transport with Rai holding on tightly. As they drew closer, June could see that some of the armor plates he had attached were damaged. Taiyang had a cut on one shoulder but still moved with powerful grace. Rai guided his mount alongside the transport. "What do you need, mechanic?" We have to reach the command center, June explained quickly. If we can get our people out, we can fall back to the secure bunker. Rai looked toward the surrounded defenders. My warriors are there too. We will help. He spoke to Taiyang in the Terry language, then looked back at June. Follow us. We will clear a path. What happened next amazed everyone who saw it. Taiyang reared up, and the power cells June had installed began to pulse with energy. The creature's scales glowed so brightly they hurt to look at directly. Then Taiyang charged toward the raiders, moving faster than seemed possible. Rai leaned low over his mount's neck, his own armor synchronized with Taiyang's. Together, they crashed into the raider line like a living battering ram, scattering enemies in all directions. Now! June shouted, accelerating the transport behind them. They broke through to the command center. Commander Park looked up in surprise as June and Han jumped out of the transport. Everyone get in, June called. We're getting out of here. As the defenders piled into the transport, Rai and Taeyang continued to fight nearby, keeping the raiders at bay. June watched in awe as the creature he had found injured just days ago now fought with incredible power and skill. One of the raiders managed to hit Taiyang with an electrical weapon. The creature stumbled, its lights flickering. June feared the worst, but then something unexpected happened. Instead of harming Taiyang, the electrical attack seemed to be absorbed by the power cells. Taiyang's lights glowed even brighter than before. The creature let out a sound like thunder and stamped its front feet. A wave of electrical energy burst from its body, knocking down every raider within 20 feet. It's using the attack against them, Han said in amazement. Your modifications turned the electrical weapons to its advantage. Once all the defenders were in the transport, June took the controls again. Rai, he called. Follow us to the bunker. Rai nodded, guiding Taiyang alongside as the transport raced toward the secure section of the outpost. They reached the heavy bunker doors just as the largest group of raiders caught up to them. Everyone inside, Commander Park ordered as the bunker doors slid open. The humans and Terry warriors rushed into the safety of the bunker. Rai dismounted from Taeyang, and the creature followed them inside. Just before the doors closed, June looked back at the outpost they were abandoning. Raiders were everywhere, tearing apart buildings and stealing whatever they could find. Inside the bunker, tension still ran high between the humans and Terry, but they had fought together against a common enemy. Commander Park approached Rai cautiously. Your mount fought well, he said. I've never seen anything like it. Rai nodded. The human mechanics modifications enhanced abilities that were already there. The bond between mount and rider is still pure, but now it is stronger. All eyes turned to June, who was checking Taiyang for injuries. The creature nuzzled his hand gently, the lights in its scales forming patterns that June now recognized as trust and gratitude. You saved us all, Commander Park admitted to June. But the outpost is lost. Maybe not, June said. The bunker has communication equipment. We can call for help from the main base. And if the Terry can contact their people too, we might be able to take back the outpost together. Rai considered this. Our main force is not far. If we fought together, humans and Terry, we could defeat the Scourge? Would your people agree to that? Commander Park asked. An alliance? After what I have seen today, Rai said, looking at Taiyang and then at June. I believe they would. The human mechanic saved my mount when he could have used it for his own gain. Then he made it stronger without breaking our sacred bond. He has earned the respect of the Tyri. June smiled and stroked Taiyang's neck. The creature that had arrived dying from infection was now a powerful warhorse, a bridge between two species that had been suspicious of each other. As plans were made for a counterattack, June thought about how far they had come in just a short time. A simple act of compassion, helping an injured creature, had changed everything. What will happen after we defeat the Scourge? Han asked quietly. June looked at Taeyang, then at Rai, and finally at Commander Park. I don't know exactly, he said, but I think it will be better than before. We've learned we can work together, that our different ways can make each other stronger. Taiyang made a soft whirring sound and pressed its head against June's shoulder. In that moment, as humans and Tyri prepared to fight side by side, June knew that healing one injured alien horse had been just the beginning of something much greater.